While we waiting on that, can y'all hear me out there in the internet land?
Maury, could you get louder? You sound a little low.
I'm not gonna say it. Oh, you trying to have another right? Can anybody else hear me? He's not white.
I can hear you, Ken. It's good. Go.
Now y'all be nice now. Y'all be nice.
He said, "Who's that Indian man?" it's, it's olive color. You know what they say? That's what AI gave me. He said, mm-hmm.
Why they always make the enemy look like that? Yeah, like why they always do that?
Hey,
How you gonna get deceived by that?
It should be a beautiful, it should be a nice looking dude, or a nice looking woman, or something. Dressed real nice, sharp, look sanctimonious.
no, AI saying you past that point. It's just evil now.
With jeans and tassels on it.
Oh my goodness. All right.
They used to put 3 Zeke seats on. They said, "What's wrong with that picture?" And took away something.
Shalom, everyone. Uh-oh. Y'all, okay, I'm gonna say it again. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom. Shalom.
Always good to be back in the house of Father one more again. All right. Y'all made it the whole month. You endured to the end. So I got an idea. I said I was gonna do a review. I was gonna ask you a whole bunch of questions. Remember that, right? But I changed it a little bit. I took the idea from Yakara's Yellow Dean because they like to take notes. So this is basically just a study session day. Okay. Because everything is it all boils down to the same point. It's just giving examples of what we're talking about here. So when we come back in April now, it's gonna be a little different. Okay. I'm not talking about you anymore. We're actually gonna start talking about them spirits themselves. And coincidentally, do y'all not know when you say spirit of jealousy and spirit of wrath, you know you're naming them by their characteristics, right? That's not their name. You know? I just want, huh? Well, that's what they calling them. They're thinking that that is their names. You got the demons themselves asking, who's that?
Man has the spirit of jealousy.
Yeah, that tells you right there that that's you. It's not the spirit, right?
Spirit coming down on you.
I am the spirit of wrath. Okay. Warning. I want to take this time to explain that this lesson and lessons thereafter are not based on one individual, whether in this assembly, locally, or abroad. These lessons were not developed by myself alone. Yes, the Father has something, if not all, to do with them. If these lessons hit certain points that you feel or believe has something to do with you, all praise to the Father. Take that knowledge and apply the solution to your life. Do not take anything personal and miss the message that is being given to help solidify your salvation. Watch and listen to gain the understanding you need while on this journey. Rules. Please keep your mic muted except when asking or answering a question. Use the mic to speak. There is a feature on Zoom in the meeting room where you can raise your hand if you have a question or a statement. Also, here in the assembly, if you have a question or statement, raise your hand and speak into the mic for everyone to hear. All questions, answers, and statements must be on the topic. You can only answer one time per question or statement. You have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. If you pass your 60-second window by Caleb, your mic will be muted for you. For those that are in the room, you also have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. There are mics that will be passed around that will be used to ask or answer those questions. All statements in the room must be limited to 20 seconds. What he said. The microphones will be used to share with others that may not hear you online. These rules are due to time and the recordings of the lessons. These are live teachings. We must give the more enough time to complete the lesson. All right? This will be mixed with discussions to help build one another, please, and out of use of time. And I forgot to take that off, but I don't really think y'all gonna be asking questions like that anyway. But just in case, on these rules for the lessons, I will ask a question and I will need only 4 people to answer, 2 from online and 2 from the assembly. After that, we will move on. All right? All right, so we answered this one, right? Okay. Let me answer that one. We answered that one last week. Y'all made it all to the final, right? What does it mean to fear something? Okay. So that's a good question. When you think of fear, what is it, and can you recognize it if you need to? I mean, I did put the rules out there, but I mean, feel free to answer the question. Somebody. Take a guess at it or something. Yeah.
No one has a fear, so.
Oh, no, oh, nobody fears anything? Oh. Go ahead.
I have not given nothing.
Go ahead.
I think fear is something that is within you that you don't understand, or something that happened and you take on that fear type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Scary, yeah.
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Who's that? Yahushan Dawood?
Yeah, fear is something that it kind of raises your emotion when something maybe dangerous is around or something.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you? I was just thinking about fear has to do with punishment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not being perfected in love.
Okay. We're going to talk about that perfection. Go ahead, you win. Then I got you.
To have like great reverence.
We could. We could. Go ahead. She need a mic behind you.
Sign of distress. Able to recognize is just based on the response.
Okay. Go ahead, Rabbi.
And
Oh,
I'm
hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. We got one. Oh, Travis. I'm sorry. Travis, listen. My bad. Yeah, Travis or Essence. Or both.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say a lack of a sound mind.
Ooh. All right. We gonna see some of that. Go ahead, Rabbi.
An unpleasant emotion caused by belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat, the feeling of anxiety, concern about the outcome of something, the likelihood of something unwelcoming happening, and also a mixed feeling of dread and reverence.
An unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. Yeah, he's starting to learn. He's starting to put everything that I put down now. He's not doing one definition anymore. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. In similarity, it's terror, fright, all things that you all were saying. Remember, a lot of times when I ask y'all to define these things, you're giving me the similarities of what it is. So it's fearfulness, it's horror, it's alarm. I didn't highlight this one, but we're going to be talking about dread, anxiety, and apprehension. It's all the opposite of someone being calm and confident. Right? As a verb, is to be afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. And again, the similarities are the same, but in the verb form, right? So be afraid of, be fearful of. You're going to be scared of something. Now, to be apprehensive of is whatever it is, right? It will make you question some things. This can lead to a kind of doubt that the enemy looks for, right? And again, we're going to talk about something being dread or you live in fear and so on, okay? And also what he was saying is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation or awareness of danger, right? So both of these it's an instance of this emotion or it's a state marked by this emotion. So it's either going to be physical or it's going to be mental. But you ain't going to be able to get away from it because you're scared, right? Hey, that's definitely physical. I'm afraid of dogs. Yeah. It could be a small dog. You afraid of dogs? You afraid of dogs? What is fear? What is fear in simple words? All right. So to summarize, fear is the word we use to describe our emotional reaction to something that seems dangerous. But the word fear is also used in another way, which is to describe something a person is often afraid of. People fear things or situations that make them feel unsafe or unsure. What I will try to demonstrate today is that you need to rely on another form of fear. That's why in the title it said to fear or not to fear. This other form brings you closer to the Father, not further away. Yes, the reverence. Unlike the fear, the world is used to knowing and embracing. Okay? Deuteronomy 28:67. In the morning you shall say, if only it were evening. And at evening you shall say, if only it were morning. Because of the dread that your heart shall feel, and the sights that your eyes shall see. The sights that your eyes shall see. Right? So this is described, yeah. Basically, this describes the intense fear, anxiety, and suffering that will overwhelm you if you disobey the Father's commandments. It's like you can say, they said it's getting that whooping. It highlights the emotional and psychological consequences of living under the Father's judgment, emphasizing the need for obedience to avoid such anguish. If you truly care about what happens to you in this circumstance now, I call it it's the oh my goodness, what did I just do situation, right? The thing is, you want to do everything in your power to avoid getting into that type of situation. Hopefully we'll see that today. All right. Job 3:25-26. For the thing that I fear comes upon me, and what I dread befalls me. I am not at ease, nor I am quiet. I have no rest, but trouble comes. Don't nobody feel like that in here, do you? That's quiet. Yeah. H6342.
Pahad.
Right? Pahad. It's a prime root, right? This is the physical part of it. It means to shiver, tremble, be startled, be in terror, right? With the sense to have fear or dread. Yeah. To be afraid or scared of, be frightened of. But that's because you feel convicted about what you done did or what you done said. Now, some people don't have that type of fear. Some people don't care about it, right? So this is for people who have that type of fear. Now, the Hebrew word pachad primarily means fear or dread or terror. It is used in various contexts throughout the Hebrew Bible to describe both human emotions and reactions to the Father's presence or impeding judgment. So we can go both ways now, all right? The fear of the Father's judgment or his presence. We have Isaiah 2:10. Enter into the rock and hide in the dust from before the terror of Yahuwah and from the splendor of his majesty. Right? Isaiah 2:19. And the people shall enter the caves of the rocks and the holes of the ground from before the terror of Yahuwah and from the splendor of his majesty, where he rises to terrify the earth. And Jeremiah 30:5. Thus says Yahuwah, we have heard a cry of panic, of terror, which is pachad, and no peace. Okay? So it can also describe fear of enemies, danger, or disasters, right? And it describes the terror associated with impeding catastrophe. Something that you can't get away from, right? There's an awe and dread invoked by the Father's power and judgment, right? Pachad often describes the fear experienced when people encounter that power or judgment. This is something you just can't walk away from. It would drive you insane trying to do so. That's what happened to the ones that try to run into the cave after the war, right? Stay humble and aligned with the Father, knowing that his power and justice are greater than anything we can imagine. Live in reverence of the Father, making choices that reflect accountability to him rather than running from the truth of his presence. You have to examine your lives and turn to the Father before it's too late. Because remember, there is an expected end for all of us. I know that sounds you can't keep running away. You can't. You can't run away from your responsibilities or from your accountability and things. That's what's going to get you the type of fear that make you shiver, that make you tremble, because you're running away from your accountability and from your consequences. It's going to follow you. You can't run from it. Yeah. Wherever you go, I'll go is what it's saying. Now, In some contexts, Pachad can carry a sense of profound respect or reverence for the Father, right? Though it is more often associated with dread than the term Yirah, which is used more frequently for reverence or fear of Yahuwah, and that is the H3374.
Yirah.
Now, this is fear, right? But with the sense of reverence now, a feeling of profound respect for someone or something after a deity, which we all know we're talking about the Father here, right? So, keeping with Pachad, here's where the study guide stuff comes in. Remember, this is all study stuff. This is for you all to do in your own time. Nuances of the meaning of Pachad. It's intense terror, right? So Pachad often implies overwhelming fear, stronger than ordinary anxiety, anticipatory dread. It can refer to fear of what might happen, not just what is happening, right? So you're thinking about it now. You know you done did wrong, and you're trying to run for it. Now it's going to stay on your mind. Divine awe. In some instances, it reflects the awe-inspiring nature of the Father's power or set-apartness or righteousness, okay? Application and understanding. Fear of Yahuwah, while Pachad often conveys dread, also serves as a reminder of the Father's power and the seriousness of sin. It underscores the awe and humility people should have in the Father's presence. Understand, if you're in this walk and you said that all you said we will do, understand when you don't do it, there's going to be some consequences. You can't get away from it, no matter how hard you try. You know, man, if you think it's big or small, you did it, you did it. Oh, that sounds like somebody may have ate something, huh? Human emotion. The term reflects a universal human experience of fear in the face of danger or the unknown, reminding everyone of the need for faith and trust in the Father amid uncertainty. So just because you're going through something, just because you know there's going to be consequences, don't mean that you run the other way. He's still looking for you to come to him, even though you know you're about to get the bill. You still got to go to him. Or is this going to be 10 times worse because now you're running not only from your consequences, but you're running from the belt too? Now you're going to make him chase you for it? Oh, no.
Oh, my mama.
Don't move, you make me run after you. Yeah, I know it.
Catch it.
My mama's here to lay out traps for me. Fear of circumstances of harm. All right. The Bible repeatedly encourages believers not to live in fear of earthly troubles or uncertainties, but to trust in the Father's protection and provision. Oh, now they ain't got warm in here. Yeah, now they got warm in here. Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Psalms 23:4. Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. 2 Timothy 1:7. For Elohim gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. I had that yesterday. The Father's promise of peace. Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, that your requests be made known to Elohim. We talked about this already, but I think it needs to be said again. And the peace of Elohim, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Messiah Mashiach Yahushua. Do y'all really understand that? No matter what you're going through, when you're doing what you're supposed to do, what are you worried about? He's going to have your back because he knows that you're going to do what he tells you to do. It may seem that simple because it is. You know? John 14:27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. So this type of peace that comforts us in times of anxiety, fear, or uncertainty. And who was this talking? It's the word, right? So if you can go listen to anybody. All right. All these verses should remind us that no matter how overwhelming life gets, the Father is always with us, giving us strength and support. Whether you're facing challenges like stress, uncertainty, or fear about the future, these verses reassure you that you're not alone. His presence provides comfort and guidance, like a shepherd protecting and leading their sheep. Now, all of this as long as you're doing your part. What is your part? Ooh, ooh, me. Ooh, ooh.
Trusting in him.
Trusting him, yeah, but what does that trust entail? What are you doing?
What I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Praying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm looking for a specific word. Yeah,
Laws. You could.
Oh, there you go.
The laws and the
There you
commandments.
go.
Instructions.
There you go. All right. That's your part. You gotta do the obedience, right? Overcoming fear through faith. Psalm 56, 3-4. She was just giving some similarities. I tell you, every time I ask a question, that's what y'all give first, the similarities. Yeah. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you, and Elohim, whose word I praise, and Elohim I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? Now I know that's easier said than done right there. That's a little harsh right there. I ain't gonna lie. 1 John 4, 18-19, that is true. There is no fear in love, and the type of love we're talking about here is goodwill, esteem, and friendship. Ooh, no. They can't hear you, but there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Okay, the perfect here is going to be the G5046. Somebody say?
Telios.
Yeah. Yes. You just have to throw that in there. I know it. Perfect, mature, right? Being complete of its kind and without defect or blemish, right? For fear has to do with punishment. And whoever fears has not been perfected in love. Now, this one here is a G5048. Huh?
Telio.
Telio. Bring to completion now. Of persons bring to ethical or spiritual maturity, so completeness, right? Now, this is with the sense to perfect a person, advance a person to final completeness of character. So, the first one is where you want to be. But if you ain't there yet, then you at the second one. You at Telio, okay? You want some oaths, but you're saying oh, all right? We live because he first. We love because he first loved us. Yeah.
Telio.
Uh-oh. Now, your character has to be in order. It's a must, right? I'm not talking about what you think your character should be, but it must reflect what the Father's character is. Okay? That's how you're going to be complete, not what you think it should be. Because if your heart ain't right, then it's going to reflect that, right? Matthew 10, 26-33. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in the dark, say in the light. And what you when you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell, or Sheol. Okay, and are not two sparrows sold for a penny, and not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. But even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I also will deny before my Father who is in heaven. So you sit in here and you get into a point where it's just too rough and you want to go back the other way. Which thing's going to happen? He's going to go back the other way too. He'll be like, all right. You don't want to deal with it? I don't either. There's nothing wrong with standing up for what we believe in, especially our faith. It can be tough in a world where we may face criticism or rejection. Yahushua encourages us to trust in the Father's protection and care. even when it feels risky or uncomfortable. Live authentically and boldly, knowing that the Father sees our struggles and will honor our faithfulness. That's your trust in Him. Okay? There's no reason for fear, opposition, or persecution for your faith as long as you're living according to the standard the Father has set up for us all. Okay? For us all now, for everybody. We all can get the word. What does it mean to be weak in the word of the Father? Because ain't nobody weak in the word, so they don't know what it means.
Nobody weak?
She's like, who? Go ahead. Waiting on you. It ain't on? It ain't coming on? Can you hand him the mic? Who that is? Javier, you go ahead, go first.
I believe being weak in the word could mean not having the proper understanding. So when you don't have the proper understanding, it's hard to like apply it to your life.
I like that. Like most. I almost said it too. Woo, I almost said it. Go ahead.
I would assume that weak in the word to be like weak in the faith. Like your faith is real low if your word ain't high.
Try to, go ahead. Yeah, Shaddai.
Without a strong foundation.
Okay.
Another version that would be is even if you do have an understanding of it, you don't know how to walk it out. So you're weak in the word, you're weak in the action of what the word is saying.
Yes. The application is key, ain't it? All right. To be weak in the word of the Father refers to a lack of spiritual maturity, understanding, or application of the Father's word in one's life. This phrase is not directly used in the Bible, but can be interpreted based on biblical teachings about spiritual growth, strength, and maturity in faith. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or that you're doing something wrong. It simply states that you still have work to do. This walk and the desire to grow should be never ending. Okay? Until you clock out of here, like we talked about last week, right? What are some signs of being weak in the word of the Father? This should be easy for y'all because y'all love giving me these similarities instead of the definition. So this, you already did it. Just say it one more again. Huh? What are some signs of being weak? We thought about your foundation. Context clues. Read what it says up there. And then give me some. Yeah. Oh goodness. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to be obedient.
The floor is yours.
I can speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So some signs is when you are not literally walking it out properly.
Mm-hmm.
There's more, but I hear there's some more.
That's a good one. All right. What? What you got something to say?
Bad fruits, what they're saying and doing is not according to the word.
Okay, yeah. Bad doctrine. I got it. It's that apprehension we talked about with fear, though, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Oh, yeah. This is study notes, by the way. This is all. You want to say in the mic? Huh? No. So we just gonna we just gonna congregate up in here.
Like the brother who's going at another brother, trying to call himself correcting someone.
Yeah, I think we all should hear this.
Overconfidence in the word, as in someone trying to correct somebody, but not doing it with discernment or having the maturity on how to approach them a certain way.
Say it for what it is. It's a lack of spiritual maturity,
Well, that's why
understanding,
I said maturity. You know?
or application of the Father's word. But here you are trying to correct somebody else when you spiritually weak yourself. Huh?
Or another one is when a situation comes up and you act about the situation rather than how Yahuwah tells you to act according to his word.
You're projecting. Anyone else? I had to just get one in there. I had to get one in there. So one of the ones that I said was limited knowledge of Scripture. Okay. You think you know what you don't. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed, was to be destroyed or done away with, or to be done with or undone for lack of knowledge, right? Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being a priest to me. And since you have forgotten the law of your Elohim, I will also forget your children. Now, this is twofold because we do got people out there that think they preach still, but still don't know what they're talking about. But this also applies to us too, because we listen to these people who think they preach. Oh my goodness. And you really don't know what you're talking about, and you up there telling this stuff to other people. So two wrongs will make it right now. The priest don't know what he's talking about, and you don't know what you're talking about, and you listening to him.
We talk about that too in scripture. Help y'all.
Even though this was directed towards the priest, it applies to us too. A person who is weak in the word may not have a strong understanding of biblical teachings, or may struggle to recall and apply the Father's commands. It could also mean that you simply don't care to strengthen yourself in his word, which is what we talked about last week, right? You tend to lean on yourself and not the Father, right? Isaiah 5:13, therefore my people go into exile for lack of knowledge. Their honored men go hungry, and their multitude is parched with thirst. Meaning they need some milk, and they ain't getting it. Something else we talked about last week is that ignoring the Father's wisdom leads to spiritual and physical ruin, with exile representing the ultimate separation from his blessings and protection. We talked about separation from the Father last week too, right? All right. Inability to discern the truth. Hebrews 5:13-14. For everyone who lives on milk, speaking of being on milk, which is basic teachings of the faith, is unskilled in the word of righteousness, since he is a child. But solid food, which is a deeper understanding of the Father's word, is for the mature. We did talk about this? That's Greek word, remember? It's a Greek word that we talk about. Which one now? Teleos, right? Spiritual mature. Antamine in the Hebrew, okay? I just had to say that, right? Being of an advanced stage of spiritual development, usually as a result of experience, teaching, and in most cases, time. You can't do this right off the bat. You can't get the word, or you come into the knowledge of the Father one day and then you want to teach the next. That just ain't gonna happen. Right? You can be on fire and you want to spread the good news, but you got to understand it first before you can try to spread it. You just spread news. For those who have their powers of discernment trained by constant practice to distinguish good from evil. It takes time, y'all. It takes time, understanding, and practicing the word. Meaning, what I say is, it should be never ending. Right? Spiritual weakness may lead to confusion about what is true or to being easily influenced by false teachings. You must grow in your faith and understanding to live righteously and make wise decisions. Now, in your own time, think of some ways you can grow in your faith and understanding. This is in your own time, all right? And I'll give you a hint. The first 3 lessons from this series contain great examples. You're going to have to go back and look through it. It's practice, all right? Another example of somebody being weak is struggles in faith and obedience. Matthew 13:20-23. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. So you got that fire under you now, right? Yet he has no root in himself, but endures for a while. And when tribulation and persecution arises on account of the word, immediately he falls away. Is telly uh-oh? Is that telly-oh, son? Telly uh-oh. This is most people today now. Most still have not conquered the fear associated with tribulation or persecution because it's hard to.
I don't want to go through that.
And you know why? Because you weak in this thing right now. I don't want to hear that. But I like hear people say, I don't want to debate. I don't want to debate that. Well, but that's the truth. That's the truth. That's because you know that you can't live up to what you're talking about, right? All right. Or if you're new in this faith and you're still on fire, but you're trying to tell your peoples now, you're trying to tell your family, and then your family start bombarding you with all these questions. What you gonna do? Right? No, I don't want to talk about this no more. Hold on. The mature thing we'll do is like, you know what? I don't have the answer, but I can surely get it for you. But is that what everybody do? I should have put deception up here too, because some of y'all lie. All right. You must have a receptive heart to build a firm foundation in faith and live a fruitful life for the Father. Without a deep foundation in the Father's word, it can be challenging to stand firm in faith during trials or live in obedience to the Father's will. And I say that because if you can't handle it, you might want to turn around and go back and do what you used to do. Remember that whole being complacent? That can happen because you're not ready yet, but you're sitting out there in the world acting like you are. And then when somebody calls you on it, you don't know how to act. You don't know how to take it. All right? It's that fear. Now all of a sudden you're fearing going through with it because now somebody found you out. That's why I say it's going to lead to that confusion. That's going to make you question some things. And that's what the enemy's looking for. He wants you to stumble like that. Because it's going to be easier for him to keep that door open in that house. All right, reliance on human wisdom over the Father's word. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah. Proverbs 3, 5-8. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuwah and turn away from evil. It will bring healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. All right? As if you can handle it now. Spiritual weakness occurs when people rely on their own understanding instead of seeking the Father's wisdom through his word. Because you want to seek it through yourself first, because that's the quickest way. What's the example? Go ahead. You got one? I think that the floor is yours.
All right. So spiritual weakness occurs when it says people rely on their own understanding, right? Mm-hmm. So one of those type of things is when you're using the Father's word, but you're using it in a way that you want to define it, mm-hmm. how you see it, how it reads to you. Mm-hmm. And then you give that as if that's the Father's word.
Oh, that's the truth right there. Mm-hmm. Because I said it. Mm-hmm. I looked it up.
So to pull it apart, if a person says, okay, but if it says this specifically, mm-hmm. then I got to go with what it says specifically first. Yeah. If not, then obviously you hear, well, the Father hasn't talked to you. Then you got what? Spiritual weakness. To them, it's spiritual, but you know that the Father's mm-hmm. word specifically says this. And if I can use that the way that it's said in scriptures, then I'm fine. If I got to create something because it's not saying what I want it to say, then you can see this person has some type of spiritual weakness in them.
Oh, yeah.
I can show you because it's deceiving.
Oh, my goodness. Lack of transformation. We need to hurry up and get out of here. Romans 12:2, before it started to get rough in here. Do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of Elohim, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Did we have that? Never mind. We had a conversation Yeah. Yeah. This can lead to confusion because you're convinced that what you're doing is good. I'm helping people and they love me for it.
Doing what y'all called me.
Huh? In the meantime, the father is saying, yeah, that's all good, but is this what I told you to do? You choose the path because it's the path of least resistance, thinking, I know what I'm doing. However, you're not challenging yourself in the way the father would have you, which is stunting your growth in this walk. Okay.
So if a person is trying to take the path of least resistance because they don't want to get into the arguments or debates or things like that, but they may want to ask the question, is to say that, but it's not that the father hasn't told me to go there. In other words, some people try to justify the path of least resistance versus going through it. The father says something, you should just do what the father's telling you to do.
Yeah.
Versus trying to find another path,
Another way out
to
of
see
it.
if you can get the same result without going through what he wants you to go through, because in it could be a message for them, but it could be strengthening you while you're going through it.
It's a Jonah moment.
So it could be a two-edged sword, if you will.
It's a Jonah moment. I want to do it the way if I got to do it, let me do it the way I want to do it. Not the way you telling me to do it. Right? It's not going to work that way. Right? Because it's all going to go back to that whole punishment thing, right? You can't run away from it. All right. Well, you guys. But that's the thing. But even with that, there's still people who don't like taking accountability, even if they've been found out to be spiritually weak in that aspect. They still gonna try to pull the wool over people's eyes.
I'll come back later when you got it.
Gonna lay low for a minute and see if somebody else remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's good as well, because I was talking to a good brother, so I won't say his name since he's on the line live.
Oh wow, you just.
But they all know who it is. So, but this accountability works in both ways, right? So this accountability is you're taking accountability, but as you give it, you got to take accountability for that person that you're giving it to as well, because you got to be careful what you're giving this person, because that it can shut that person down or make that person, because you didn't give it the way the father told you to give it. See what I mean? So there's an accountability on both ends.
That's what took Moshe out, ain't it? Well, then you would have to go back to, are you really hearing from the Father, or are you hearing from yourself? Yeah. Yeah. The word of the Father is meant to change and renew us, but weakness in the word may lead to a stagnant or worldly life. Okay? It can set you back. Now, how to grow strong in the word of the Father. Remember, this is all study stuff. This giving you vague information so you can study this stuff out yourself. Okay? Regular study and meditation. Do anybody do that? Yes. Not just on Shabbat? Yes. Okay. Joshua 1, 8 to 9. That's why some of y'all don't like calling me, because I know what he doing. Yeah, I can't help it. That's what I was called to do, right? I'll make it part of my devotion. The book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your ways prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for Yahuwah your Elohim is with you wherever you go. You're supposed to stay grounded in the Father's word. You're supposed to obey his commands and rely on his presence for strength and guidance in every circumstance. No matter if it's good or bad, no matter if you're right or wrong, right? Help yourself by eliminating any excuses for not having a strong foundation in his word. The Father is telling you to keep his word, and what will happen if you do? If you don't, what excuse will you have? If you care about it. If you care enough about it now. Because like I said before, some people just do not care. They're so self-absorbed with what they're doing, they ain't got time to hear that right now. Because I got the truth, remember? I'm the one who do it, and they love me for it. That's why I got the thousands of followers, and I can make a video every 2 weeks. Okay. I'm not saying I do that. I'm just saying that's what happens. In this day and age, you know, the young folk got a channel up every 2 minutes thinking they know something. Prayer for understanding. James 1:5-8. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask Elohim, who gives generously to all without reproach. He knows what he's saying, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith without doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. We talked about this before too, right? For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the sovereign. He is a double-minded man. And this is an adjective characterized by a duality of selves, as in one's desires or thinking that are in opposition to one another, especially that results in lack of decisiveness. So he is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. Ask the Father to reveal his truth and give you wisdom. Then wait patiently and stop asking repeatedly for the same things. All right? He's heard you, and he will respond when he's ready. Often the reason for the slow response is that he wants you to practice faith and trust, knowing that he will provide in his perfect timing. Daddy. You hear me? Daddy? Did you hear what I said? Daddy?
Didn't I just? No, you can't do it now.
And this is why I'm human, because I would have been and told you to shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I heard you. Give me a second. I'm getting to it. Obedience to the Father's word. All right? James 1:22-25. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. Now, the intent and the sustained look with a ready response is the key to spiritual strength and continued maturity. It means that you're ready to apply everything that the Father has given you in order to be successful in this walk. Don't just look at yourself and then say, oh my goodness. For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. Okay? So I said here, strength comes from applying what you learn to your life. Okay? This application shows that you understand the power isn't just in the words you hear, but also in the actions you take. This might sound like an easy concept, but it's not always executed so easily. That's where the willingness comes into play. Where's the want and the drive to carry out the things that Father will have you to do?
What you say?
We heard. It's hurry up now. I'm about to speed read now. Seeking the fellowship and teaching. Hebrews 10:24-7. I really hope y'all can't hear some of these commentary out here. And let us consider how to. It's a stumbling block. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as in the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day dawning near. That does hit home for some people, don't it? It should. For if we go on sinning deliberately after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a fearful expectation of judgment and a fury of the fire that will consume the adversaries. You want to be in that same fire? Internal security. Moving on, knowing what's right and choosing to ignore it has serious consequences. This reminds us to take our faith seriously and not treat the Father as unmerited favor as a free pass to live however we want. I call it the I know I'm saved syndrome. Did you say something that you wanted to share with the class?
I'm just having a.
Yeah, but you know these conversations could be had by all. So
I'm just. He didn't hit the room. I wasn't raising my hand.
I gotta keep moving. Surround yourselves with mature believers in sound biblical teaching for encouragement and accountability. That's a big. I should have underlined that one. Accountability. You must do your part to develop and maintain a mindset that is set apart. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people can help keep you on the path the Father has set for you. That's why you need to come to the assembly. I say it again. That's why you need to come to the assembly. I didn't put. I have a fear. Rely on the set apart ruach or the Spirit. John 14:26. You ain't finna get me in that. But the helper, the set apart ruach, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring you to remembrance all that I have said to you. The set apart ruach guides us into all truth and strengthens us in our walk with the Father. We talked about this in the Count Your Costs. Right? Being weak in the word of the Father is not a permanent state now. It's an opportunity for growth, if you want it. Through intentional study, prayer, and reliance on the Father, anyone can grow stronger in the faith and understanding. Again, if you want it. What does the Bible say about anger? Anybody? I think the baby angry.
Be angry, but sin not. Don't let the sun go down in your wrath.
Did you look at my lesson or something? Anyway, but can somebody give me a definition?
What does the Bible say about anger? Not as a define.
I know. I know what I did there.
Someone's outside.
Strong emotions.
Emotion.
I repeat the call.
That's it? This is strong emotion? Oh, okay. Well, the worldly definition is a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. They get the similarities. You got somebody that's going to annoy you. You get vexation. Yeah. Irritation. Irritability and indignation. Now, this is anger or annoyance provoked. It's a long form of being ignorant, you know what you're saying? Annoyance provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment. Displeasure, resentment, rage, fury, wrath, outrage, temper, and aggravation. But I was good. It's the opposite of pleasure or good humor. But here's the thing with that situation. How can I teach this stuff if I don't display it? As a verb, I ain't gonna go that far. As a verb, to fill someone with anger or provoke anger in. And again, this person is gonna annoy you. He's gonna irk you, okay? And again, it's gonna provoke you. There's gonna be some enraged. You're gonna be infuriated. And they're gonna antagonize you. It's gonna make someone's blood boil. Did I want to say that? Rub up the wrong way.
Come on now.
No, did he? Ruffle someone's feathers. All right, it's the opposite of pacifying. Okay, yeah, you're just gonna keep saying it. The Bible speaks extensively about anger, offering both warnings about its dangers and guidance on how to handle it in a righteous way. There's a way to do this thing according to the Bible now. You can't just, what the young folks say, crash out. You can't just crash out on somebody. You see, you're not young people, so you're just going to go. This is the YNs.
No. You elevate from young son. That's long gone. Young is gone now.
Ah, what does
You don't fall in that category no more.
Proverbs 29:11. A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. So losing control of anger is a sign of foolishness, right? While wisdom is marked by restraint and calmness. I wasn't all that calm, but I had some restraint. Ecclesiastes 7:9, yes. Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools. So again, anger that is quick and impulsive often leads to foolish behavior. Okay? Now, how to handle it now? Forgiveness and reconciliation. Is that easy? Nah. Colossians 3:13, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other. As Solomon has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And say you can try to forgive, saying you must forgive. You're gonna do it, but it ain't gonna be the first time. If they can do it so willingly, that in that instance, oh yeah, they done it before. Forgiving others helps to release anger and prevents it from taking root in our hearts. You have to respond with patience and kindness. Okay. Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Choosing gentleness over harshness can diffuse conflict, but that's on the other person, though. You have to have the type of mindset in the heart that's like, I'm not going to stoop to that level. Now, remember we talked about last time now. It's in your speech, it's in your feelings, it's in your emotions, okay? Father gonna hear all that, even when you say it under your breath. He said, I heard that. Seek the Father's help now. Psalms 37:8, refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. Trusting in the Father and seeking his guidance can help us overcome anger. Do you see the one thing is you're supposed to go to the Father when all this stuff is happening. You can't try to do this yourself. You weren't designed to do this stuff yourself. And that's where the test comes in. And if you keep on failing this test, the enemy is right there, like, go ahead. Call, say his mama again, one more time. Say it louder. See? Gotcha. Got the door open, right? Ephesians 4:26-27. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. The anger here, I know you're waiting for it, is the G3950. Yeah. Ain't nothing that one of y'all got.
Parorismos.
Paroikismos. Right? It's with the sense of anger as an emotion. Right? A strong emotional feeling that is oriented towards some real or supposed grievance. So what it's saying is either is it real or did you just make this up? Because you let your emotions get the best of it now. Somebody said something really innocent and you took it the wrong way. Yeah. Anger itself is not always sinful, but unchecked anger can lead to harmful actions, words, and attitudes. Now, us as believers are encouraged to resolve anger quickly to prevent bitterness or sin. Because why? Because it's going to store up in your heart. And you don't want that. Because now everybody your enemy. What you say to me? You don't want that. Right? James 1:19-20. Know this, my beloved brothers. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of Elohim. Rash and uncontrolled anger often leads to unrighteousness, opposing the Father's wills. Because you're not aligning with his character now, because now you just mad at the world. Right? Father's anger versus human anger. Right? We have Psalm 7:11. Elohim is a righteous judge, and Elohim who feels indignation every day. What did we say the indignation was? Huh? Something that is provoked. You're being provoked to this type of anger. So every day somebody is provoking the Father.
All over the world.
Every second, every minute. Unlike human anger, the Father's anger is never selfish or impulsive. On the other hand, human anger, often rooted in pride, selfishness, or a lack of understanding. Scripture warns against harboring anger or letting it control our actions. Who that is? Lord Dawood.
Yes, I just wanted to ask the question, where does in dealing with anger and, dealing with a situation, the accountability of reaping what you sow come into play? Or sometimes, I have heard people say, well, I'm just matching your energy. How does that play out? But it always, seem we always have to be so passive, when dealing with situations.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Is this in the walk or is this in the world? Because if it's in the walk, we just went over the way you're supposed to handle such a situation. In the world, it's going to be a little different. You're not supposed to match their energy. There's a way to handle it opposed to Scripture, right? You don't have to be on their level, because remember, when it comes to judgment time, everybody's going to be judged separately. You can't sit up here and say, "Well, I match their energy, so what's the point?" You're still gonna be held accountable for the way you react to certain things, and the way that you say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, since we're if we're just dealing with those that are in the walk, they both have a responsibility to conduct themselves the way the Father tells them to conduct themselves. Now, can we lose ourselves in an argument with each other? Sure. But the standard still remains.
Yeah.
So, but if you're arguing with someone that's not in the walk, then you still got to show a form of Yah's light, even in your conversation, to that person that's not in the walk.
Because you're supposed to be a light, right?
Mm-hmm. Your hope is that the Father will fight that battle. Your hope is that, they will hear you. But if they don't hear you, getting louder is not going to change it. Call them all kinds of names is not going to change it. Telling someone else about it's not going to change it. None of these things will change the outcome. It's just going to make each other get upset. So the best thing is, in something like that within each other, is take our own accountability for our own actions and let that person know, I'm taking full responsibility of what I have done. And then that person should be doing the same thing if they're in the walk. But if they're not in the walk, you can't expect much. You can preach to them all day, give them all the scriptures you want, and all they're thinking about is tic-tac-toe. They don't want to hear anything you got, because it's a game to them. They're going to try to make you even upset more, or try to point out things that make you angry because you may have gotten them backed into a corner. So that's what I'm saying. It becomes this match or game that you don't want to put yourself into.
Simply put, no matter if they're in the walk or not, two wrongs don't make a right. I can't even finish my thought because of that. Let's use Yahushua as an example, okay? Matthew, I'm sorry, Yahushua, go ahead. Yahushua, huh?
Yeah, sorry, I lost the button there. Oh, yeah, that's a good point too, because if you think about it, like, our truth is not that person's truth, right? And we're supposed to, talk with love and truth, right? So that's hard to do when they got different truth than you got. So that's a great point there, Maury. Yeah.
All right. Matthew 21:12-13. Yahushua displayed righteous anger when confronting sin and injustice, such as when he cleansed the temple. You know this one, right? Yahushua entered the temple and drove out all who sold and bought in the temple, and he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. He said to them, "It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of robbers." So his anger was controlled, purposeful, and aligned with the Father's will, showing us how to address wrongs without sinning. Now, hold on. For everyone's perspective, let's look at it as figuratively laying the smack down on somebody. Not physically, No. You gotta hit them with scripture now. You can't hit them with your fist. No, see, I knew that was gonna happen when I put that example up there. Let's close this on out. All right. The Bible acknowledges that anger is a natural human emotion, but warns against letting it control us or lead to sin. It calls us to practice forgiveness, patience, and self-control, trusting the Father to help us handle anger in a way that reflects His character and promotes peace. Okay? Again, figuratively laying the smack down. Don't do it physically. Don't go to jail. Or you're going to be doing your ministry in jail. Okay? And I ain't coming to look at it either. All right. Oh, go ahead. More Daoud. You got something?
So, with what you just said, the other part to it that you have to be willing to somewhat be prepared, whether literally, figuratively, spiritually, to lay down your life defending the Father's word, because you know the Father forbid if you stand up for righteousness, because we see it happen in Scripture several times, that your life can be put in jeopardy. I mean, we see it happen to I believe with Stephen when he stood up and said what he had to say. He was stoned to death. We see it happen to Shual, when he was ministering. I mean, so we have to be very, very conscious of us when we rise up and for righteousness' sake, and be mindful, when we doing it and what can happen.
But the key word is righteousness. If that's what you're doing, then yes. But if you doing it to satisfy your own flesh, your own desires, or if you have that I know what I'm doing attitude, like we talked about before, then that's something different. Right? That's something different. But yes, if it's concerning the word, then yes, figuratively and physically, you got to be ready. Mentally too, yeah. All right. Any questions?
Message: stay in the gym.
Stay in the gym. Oh my goodness. I said figuratively now. You gotta shoot nobody. Any questions, comments pertaining to the lesson? Now, when we come back in April, it's going to be all about the spirits themselves. We're going to talk about what's in the name. We're going to talk about engaging them. Those are going to be the two main ones. Okay, remember, we're not talking about similarities in their characters. That's not their name. Okay, the spirit of lust is not what that demon's called. That's just what you call it. Yeah, I'm positive. All right. Remember, evil is in your heart. It is in your heart. If our hearts and minds are clear, we can stand and close.
Shalom, Ori. Do you want me to close, or is Aki going to close?
If you here, you can go ahead and do it.
Okay. All right. Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah Eloheinu Melech Olam. Torah Rebab Yahuwah for this wonderful word of understanding, this wonderful word of instruction. We praise you, we thank you, we honor you for all that you've done and all that you continue to do for us, Ab Yahuwah, for your wonderful Ruach HaKodesh that leads and guides us into all truth and righteousness. We give you praise for this moment in time, Ab Yahuwah. We ask, Ab Yahuwah, that you would be amongst the Mishpachah as they fellowship, as they enjoy their meal together, Ab Yahuwah. We ask that you would cover those that are traveling to and fro. And we ask, Ab Yahuwah, that you would be with us. And we give you praise for this wonderful Shabbat day, this Yom that you allowed us to be in. We praise you for that, Ab Yahuwah. We look forward, Ab Yahuwah, for the breath of life again on the other side of Shabbat. Torah Rebah, Ab Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Amen. In Yahushua's name. Amen.
We about to do the Hebrew class. That's not going to be right now, but we're not doing it no more.
Oh, he'll be back. He'll be back. All right. Hit the button. All right.